William invited the other members of the royal family. So he invited Beatrice, Eugenie, Mike and Zara Tyndall and Peter Phillips to the garden party. And as you were saying there, it's just really nice to actually remember them again. Do you know what I mean?
And also, they're family. They're his cousins, you know. They're all his cousins. They're all cousins. They're all family. And you do. And I just think it's a lovely thing. I just think it's a really nice thing. And
do we need to see more of them, Arthur?
I would like to see more of Beatrice and Eugenie. Yeah, I do.
Working royals, or
I don't know. I mean, I should imagine the King's giving it some thought because, you know, they're very short-handed at the moment. They are. I mean, if you think there really is only William and Catherine and the King and Queen, and all right, and we know Princess Anne is tirelessly working, and we know that Edward and Sophia are really hard-working, but you know.
They do some really good stuff with charities, Beatrice and Eugenie, but they've also got families and jobs. They've never actually taken up this kind of working royal role.
No, they haven't, but they are involved in things. I mean, you know, they are involved in charities, and they do, and they've all their life done that. You know, their mother and father have taught them that. You know, that's their, you know, they've got born to great privilege, and that with that privilege comes duty, and they realise that. But for some reason, I think maybe because, you know, Prince Andrew is not the most popular person in the world at the moment. Maybe people think like that, you know, but I don't know. I do feel they're... I was great seeing them at that garden party. I know it was pouring with rain, but when I saw those pictures, I thought, well done, you know, good on you, William, because there's all your cousins there. And I see them at Sandringham at Christmas time when the whole family meet together. And they are really, really, you know, they're really great friends. So, yeah, I hope it happens anyway. Well, I think if it doesn't happen with the King, it will happen, certainly, with William, yeah.
I may be being naughty here, but Eugenie was always good friends with Harry and Meghan. I've maybe introduced them, depending on whose story you kind of believe. She's been out to California a couple of times. They've kind of, and then she turned up to the garden party, and I think she put on Instagram, oh, it was great here to be supporting the royal family. I'm probably being a bit naughty here, but is Eugenie like a, you know, a firm, trusted kind of member of the royal family for William to use as a support still?
I think she's a kind person, very kind person. I know her well, but I've worked with her a lot. I think she's a tremendously kind person, and I must say, she's very close to Harry. I remember, she was very close to Harry. And imagine, I think it's good that, you know, people are like that. I think it's lovely that, you know, they can keep in touch with Harry. You know, I mean, look, Harry's just lost his way a bit, in my view. You know, I think he is the prodigal son, in my view, and he's got to think about what he's doing and think what the damage he's done, and you know, everybody is capable of forgiveness, and I'm sure, but you know, I think, look, Harry is the prodigal son, but you know, the prodigal son did return to the fold, and let's all hope that happens one day. I hope it does happen, but at the moment, I mean, has he been married 7 years now, is it?
Well, it's 7-year anniversary.
Yeah, so 7 years.
This week was their 7th. Do you remember that? You must remember. Where were you you were there in Windsor?
Oh, I was there. Hated the day. The day was a miserable day. I mean, it was a...
Really? I thought...
Well, was it? Well, I can tell you now, it was the worst royal engagement I ever did, a royal wedding I ever did, because Harry was determined to keep the newspapers away from it as much as possible. Everything was done on long lenses. I mean, I tell you, I had an 800mm lens photographing the guests arriving, and the photographers they engaged for the job was 5 feet away. You know, it was just hopeless. And then the carriage shot, when they went past me in the carriage, they looked the other way. So for me, it was a disaster. And
well, was that deliberate? You were made to feel unwelcome.
I felt so. I felt it wasn't just me; it was the whole of the British press. You know, they were. In many ways, badly treated. I think it was, Harry was angry with us, really, because some of the things that have been said about Meghan, and quite rightly, some of the things that were said about Meghan during the engagement were pretty harsh. I want to sort of mention them now, but some of them were pretty unfair as well. And so he was angry, and I felt, you know, we were punished for that. And in fact, I never got one picture in the paper published from that day. And when I think, you know, I've done some I've done some really lovely royal weddings. I did both King Charles's weddings. I did William's wedding. I did Andrew's wedding. I did Sophie and Edward. You know, I mean, they were lovely occasions. But that today, I couldn't get out of Windsor quick enough. I promise you that.
The worst royal wedding you had to cover.
Yeah, and then when the baby was born, when Archie was born, that was another, in my view, a disaster, because I knew we was not going to get a picture of it. Everybody was hoping we would get pictures of it. I mean, obviously, when William was born and Harry was born and George and Charlotte and Louis, we got great pictures outside the hospital. I remember, and William and Catherine especially, they made such an effort to show the whole world their new baby. But I mean, I say this, but I mean, Harry's baby Archie was almost teething before we found out it was born. You know, I mean, it was. We were led to believe that she was gone into labour at 2:00 when the baby had been born many hours earlier. We were led to believe it was going to be a home birth, and it was at a hospital. There was that. The whole thing was just stage managed to suit them. And in fact, I never stayed in Windsor. There was a royal tour to Germany with the King and Queen, and I went with them, and couldn't get away from Windsor quick enough. And I remember showing Camilla in I think Munich the first pictures of Archie that was taken by the Press Association. I remember showing her on my phone, and she sort of, and that was the first time she saw him. You know, so it was difficult times. I have to say though, you know, that first year of Meghan, that working with her on the road, I mean, you know, we went all over the country. I mean, she was incredible. I mean, I thought she was, and I was saying this, you know, I thought she was a great asset to the family. And I kept asking the palace if we could have a meeting with her. You know, the royal people, the people who covered the royals, could have a meeting with Meghan, like we did with Catherine. And, you know, so introduce ourselves and let her to know who was writing about her and photographing her. And I was assured it was going to happen, but it never did. And then pretty soon, like, you know, she'd made her mind up that they were going, and that was it. But
do you get a sense that they made, if you're talking about the wedding, everyone was made to feel unwelcome?
Not everybody, just the
British
media.
press,
yeah,
just
British
the people
press,
that travel the whole world, and spend their whole life.
All my life, you know. And then Oprah Winfrey had met them once. She was a guest. The Clooneys, you know, the guests. I mean, never met them before, but they were the guests. And you know, I thought to myself, you know, this is all showbiz rubbish, you know.
Did you get a sense then that they wanted out, that they wanted a California life, that they wanted showbiz, that they weren't interested? If they weren't interested in making people feel welcome at the wedding, it just seems to me they made a decision back in 7 years ago. That they
I'm looking. I mean, Oprah Winfrey was there, and then the first big interview they did was with Oprah Winfrey. And you know, most of that interview was left on the cutting room floor because it was so one-sided and it was so unfair. And I think about watching it now, and you know, the bit about Archie and the colour of his skin. And I knew they'd be seething. I knew the Queen would be seething. I knew that the Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, would be seething. It would be so unfair, because one thing they're not is racist. You know, they are not. I've been with the King all over Africa, all over South America. I've never seen only just engaging and enjoying the company of these people. So, you know, it would be no way that he would be like that. He's just and it was just an unfair thing to say. But it was, you know, I mean, she delivered it like an actress delivered it, and Oprah responded going, wow, you know, as though like, you know, it was awful. And then of course, some of the Netflix stuff and the book, oh God, you know, it was dreadful. But
so to confirm, Arthur, you didn't do anything to celebrate Harry and Meghan's 7th wedding anniversary?
I'll tell you what, no, I don't even, I'm surprised it lasted that long.